Success isn't about big leaps. It's about small steps that you take every day. Consistency is the quiet power behind every great achievement. And discipline is the strength that keeps you going when things get tough. Today, we're diving into two powerful forces: consistency and discipline. Consistency is what helps you build momentum, while on the other hand, discipline keeps you on track when motivation starts to fade. We're going to explore how these two work together and what we can learn from Thomas Edison about staying committed. Now, when I was preparing for this episode, at first it was just on consistency. And I started to record the episode, and I'm not going to lie, I had to stop because I was getting frustrated. Because deep down, I know that consistency only takes you so far, right? That's the same thing with motivation. You know, people think that listening to a motivational video every month or every couple months is quote unquote personal development. You know, I remember thinking that when I first got into the world of self-development or personal development. I remember that feeling that I got from a motivational video, but it would last for like a week. And then the more I watched them, it might last for like a day and then an hour. And then sometimes I would have watched the motivational video. By the end of the video or halfway through the video, I felt less motivated than when I started watching it, right? Then I went down the rabbit hole of trying to find the magic bullet. Okay. The magic motivational video that every time I watched it, I was going to get lit and nothing could stop me. That, though, is, in layman terms, consistency. Everyone thinks that, you know, you're going to find this magic routine, this magic pill that gets you to show up every single day and do the hard things that it takes to have success in your life. But they're not. So when I started recording this and it was just talking about consistency, you know, I'm not going to lie, you know, I got a little frustrated because I myself have been in that, you know, period of my life where I would develop these routines and think that the routines were going to be the things that carried me to my success. And now look, consistency is meant to develop a habit. Okay. And then a habit adds into your overall growth in whatever area you're pursuing. Okay. And that kind of goes into like our first hidden key behind consistency is, what is it that you're staying consistent at, right? Not just a thing that you're staying consistent at, but what is the intention behind your consistency? Without the right intention, you might as well just be running in place, but you're going nowhere. You're just spinning your proverbial wheels. You're not really making progress. And that's what it's about, right? At the end of the day, if you're the person here that's listening to this podcast today, other than just to see, can this guy really record 90 episodes on some random subject? Yeah, you know, you're looking for something more in your life. You're looking for that edge. You're looking for that next thing that's going to put you over the top. But let's think about Thomas Edison. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's journey with the light bulb wasn't a straight path to success. It took thousands of small, consistent attempts to finally make his idea a reality. Edison didn't stop after 1, 10, or even 1,000 tries. Each attempt, even the ones that didn't work, brought him one step closer to success. And there could be something, within that right there, at, at, in a whole, or in a sense, of the story that you're telling yourself while you're in the process, right? That's why I'm like, I understand the purpose of consistency. I do believe it is important to be consistent. Consistency builds that trust in yourself. It helps you know that you can do something. I'm almost at a lack of words after that. But going back to what I'm saying is that's the power of consistency. It's not about achieving perfection overnight. It's about a steady daily commitment to moving forward, no matter how small the step is. We always think that we're just going to make these giant leaps and these giant bounds, and we're looking for, I don't know, that thing at the end of the road that says like, hey, you did it, but it's not it. It's always just a process. I have this a little saying, and it's like process over outcome. Because if you're always just waiting for the outcome, then you're only waiting for the end result, and you miss the journey along the way. Edison's story shows us that even the greatest breakthroughs are built on the foundation of, consistency and persistence. It's not about the occasional big win, but about showing up day after day, learning, adjusting, and pushing forward. And the learning and adjusting part within that is so key, because without the adjustments, there's nothing to stay consistent at. Right? That's why I always get so frustrated with just a blanket word like, oh yeah, you just got to be consistent. Like, okay, sure, thanks a lot, guy. That helps a ton. No, not really. There's always so much more to it. What is there to learn from this experience? No one's going to come and tell and whisper in your ear in the middle of failure, hey, what can you learn from this? You don't want to hear that crap. Not if you're failing big time. Not if you just quote unquote messed up, or your business didn't go as planned. You spent a little more over budget than what you had planned for. Your launch didn't go as good as you wanted. You invited 1,000 people to come to your event. You had 5 people show up, 3 people show up, 1 person actually sign up to the thing. No one's coming along and saying, hey, so-and-so, what could you learn from this? How could you adjust for the next time? You aren't even thinking about the next time. You're thinking about going home, burying your head inside the pillow, because you don't want to deal with the fact that you just quote unquote fell on your face. Better yet, push forward, That's the reality of it. That's why discipline is like such a compliment, because discipline is about the mental strength side of things, the persistence. I will persist until I succeed. It's when I think about discipline, I just think about stoicism, the people that when life was just going wrong in every single direction, they decided they were going to show it regardless. Consistency is the act of showing up regularly. I always have such a hard time getting that word out of my mouth, so I'm kind of surprised I did. I'm not going to repeat it because I'll just jinx myself, but showing up and performing the same actions over time, right? It's what builds habits, one small step at a time, until the actions become a part of who you are. And that's what the good thing about consistency is, right? It helps build this character trait within yourself that over time it's just ingrained. You have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and your body, right? The 3 parts to who you are other than your soul and your spirit, acting from with the divine. You have your conscious, subconscious, and your body. What you do consciously feeds your subconscious, and what your subconscious has stored within it is what tells your body how to act. That's why you can have some people say say, I want to do better, but their subconscious has been programmed with 10, 15, 20, 40 years of bad habits, and their subconscious tells their body a different thing, right? So you have a person saying one thing, but they're doing another. It's just not because they don't want to be a different person. It's because what they have been consistent at isn't aligned with who they want to be, right? So you have to have this consistency. And that's why I'm always so big on, doing small things. People try and make giant changes overnight, but you're trying to override a hardware system within your internal computer that's been programmed one way for years and years, decades sometimes, right? Decades on decades on decades of, bad programming. And I'm saying bad programming, but it's not a good or bad thing. It's just, were you consciously aware when you were doing it? No. Then are you consciously aware now? Yes. Would you like to make a change? Yes. Okay, then what is something that we can do today to make a step towards that? And it's the small stuff that you can do with consistency that leads to your overall character development. So instead of trying to make these giant leaps and giant bounds, right? If I said I want to write a book, but I've never written a book, I've never been the person who writes on a daily basis, better yet, a person who's written an essay or a 3-page paper, I've always kind of cheated myself out of it. Then for me to say I want to write a book, but I haven't even developed the consistency within writing, I have to do that first. So what are the action steps, the intentions that I can put behind the consistency to start to hardwire that new programming in my system? Consistency is about frequency and reliability. Again, taking those daily steps. Much like Edison's thousands of attempts, consistency makes small actions add up over time. Think about something as simple as reading 10 pages a day. That might not feel like much, but over a year, that's 3,650 pages. A dozen books you wouldn't have read otherwise, right? Just 10 pages a day. It's something small, but it leads to something big. And that's why I always put such a big emphasis of it's not that you don't want to do better or that you can't do better or that you're just that type of person. You're not that type of person. You want to do something different, but if you've been that way for 10 years, you have 36,500 days stacked against the one day that you decided to try and make a change. And what's going to win on a scale every single time? Of course, the 36,000. It's just a no-brainer. Discipline is the mental strength that can keep you aligned with your goals, even when it's not easy. It's what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades or when distractions come up. That's the thing about discipline is there's going to be so many ample opportunities, or the proverbial angel and devil sitting on your shoulder. One's telling you, hey, you know exactly what you need to do. You need to get your butt up, put your workout clothes on, and go to the gym because you said you were going to go for 20 minutes today. But the other one says, yeah, but you didn't really get great sleep last night. You know what? You could just kind of relax for the rest of the day. Take it easy. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You'll get to it tomorrow, right? All these excuses start coming up. That's where discipline starts to kick in. It's what overrides. It's when, again, that motivation fades. Because I promise you this much, no David Goggins video, no Jocko Links, however you say his last name, Jocko Link's video is going to get your butt up and going when you aren't feeling motivated to go and do the thing, especially a hard thing, even though you know it's going to contribute to the overall picture, the overall person that you want to become. Discipline is the force behind consistency. It's what helps you stick to your routine on the hard days. Discipline means choosing to stick with it even when it's tough or inconvenient. Again, you're going to have two voices pop in your head. You're going to have the one voice say, I know what I need to do today. And then you're going to have the second voice pop up that says, I know what I want to do today, right? Our wants will always override our needs. What you need to do versus what you want to do is two totally different things, right? That's when you have salespeople. A good salesperson isn't going to come and sell you on what you need, right? They're going to come and sell you on what you want. They're selling you on the convertible with the top down, even though you need a minivan for 5 kids, right? You're going to feel better with your want than actually what you need. If you set a goal to exercise for 15 minutes a day, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Even though it's 15 minutes, you're going to say, I'm going to get to it tomorrow because it's easier. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward, reminding you why you started in the first place. Consistency and discipline are partners. Consistency builds the habit, while discipline reinforces it on days when you don't feel like showing up. Together, they create lasting change. And I don't really feel that I need to beat a dead horse. But if I could give you a tip, I'll give you a tip before we start heading out on this episode. Because consistency and discipline, there's thousands of books on it. Thousands of podcasts. You're going to hear every other motivational speaker talk about it. But if I could give you a tip, it's just going to go back to something that I kind of briefly touched on before. If you haven't been that person up until this day, but you want to start becoming that person, set the game so that you can win. You're making the rules to this game of life. This is the Wild West. There isn't a set standard. There isn't no one's. That's the crazy thing about life. We grow up within this framework of school. You grow up with your parents telling you where you need to be, what you need to be doing. You go to school where your teacher tells you where to sit, when to go to lunch, when to go to break, where to write on your test, where to fill in the bubble, when to go to gym, when not to go to gym, where you can take a bathroom break, where you can't take a bathroom break. Then you graduate from school, you go into sports, you have a coach telling you where you can play, where to stand, where to run, where to hit the ball, where to field the ball, where to throw the ball. And then you leave sports, and then you go into college, and then you have college professors not really on that, right? That's kind of your first introduction of, I can do this, but I don't have to do this, right? That's where a lot of, college students first run into that experience. But what I want to give to you today is, this is the Wild West. It's your life, though, on the line. And a lot of people don't really realize that, is you are fighting for your mental stake in the game of life. And if you don't take it that serious, then I urge you to. It is a serious matter. Again, it's your life at the end of the day. What is the quality of life that you want to have, the quality of life that you want to share with others, and the quality of life that you maybe want to pass down one day? So, the tip. There's no set standard of how you should act. No one's going to show up to your house tomorrow, hold your hand, and say, this is exactly what you need to do, where you need to be, where you need to go, how you need to do it, why you need to do it, why you must do it. That's not going to happen. If you're waiting for that person to come along, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. That's like knowing the issues but you want everyone else in the world to change. Which one's easier, waiting for the world to change or you making the change within yourself first? So since you're living in the Wild West, start to set the rules for yourself, right? We immediately go to this victim mindset of saying, oh, it's the Wild West. There's no rules telling me how I should do it. Oh, this is going to be impossible. No, what you're forgetting is the empowering version of that story. The empowering version of that story is that this is the Wild West. That means that you make the rules to this game. And if you are the person that makes the rules to the game, then set the rules so that you can win. Make it attainable, make it achievable, make it something that you can celebrate. Be happy with yourself along the way. Success isn't this overly difficult thing. Success isn't a end goal, right? An end goal is just the outcome of the process. In the process is the success. So within the process, set this thing up so that you can win. Again, the best example I can give you, if you're not the person that goes to the gym 5 days a week, but you want to go to the gym 5 days a week, you need to start smaller. That means you're going to have to sacrifice the known for the unknown, right? So go into the unknown. You're going to go 3 days a week. Instead of 3 days a week for an hour, you're going to go 3 days a week for 20 minutes. Why? Because if you're not the person who goes 5 days a week for an hour, you're not going to be the type of person who goes 3 days a week for an hour. The whole purpose of going for 20 minutes is that you start to build trust in yourself. That's what consistency is. You're building trust. Again, we have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a body. And your body is what conveys action out into the world, right? The actions that you're taking are laid dormant within your body. So if you want different actions, you have to start thinking differently. And once you start thinking differently, you can start thinking differently and acting differently, which will help really anchor in that stuff within your subconscious mind. So today, I challenge you to pick one small action you can do daily for the next week. Want something small. Don't go big. I'm telling you something small. If it's, I want to do push-ups for 5 minutes, set a 5-minute timer and do not go outside of it. I'm not 6 minutes, not 7 minutes, not 5 minutes and 10 seconds, 5 minutes. As soon as the timer's up, you stop. You have to be that serious and that strict about it. Something meaningful but manageable, whether it's reading 5 pages, meditating for 2 minutes, or writing down one gratitude. Commit to it daily. Each day this week, when you complete that small action, I want you to take a moment to recognize both your consistency and your discipline. Notice how it feels. How does it feel in your chest? How do you feel after completing that thing? Do you feel a lightness in your body? Do you feel a tingling sensation in your hands? Do you feel like this uplifting smile across your face? Notice how it feels. Keep this commitment to yourself, especially on days when you feel like skipping it. The moment you feel like skipping it, I want you to turn that away. I want you to make that your anchor point. When you have that thought of, I don't want to do this, I'm just going to skip, I want you to anchor that with a new thought. Okay, your new thought is, that's exactly why I'm going to. When you say, I don't want to, you say, that's exactly why I'm going to. Because who's in charge? Right? Who's in charge? The person you want to become or the old you? So come back tomorrow. We're going to have another great episode. I don't know what it is yet, or else I'd share it with you, but you can be just as surprised as me when you see the title tomorrow. But yeah, this was day 4 of our 90-day challenge where we talked about consistency and discipline. We got a lot out of it. Again, we covered the power of small, consistent actions, how they build confidence, how they build the momentum, and the difference between consistency and discipline, right? Remember, big change doesn't come from sudden shifts. It comes from small steps taken daily. And the discipline to keep showing up. Every action matters, whether it's small. Everyone knocks the small stuff, but it's the small stuff that adds up, right? If your end goal is to go to the moon and you take a 1 degree shift every single day, you're going to be in a totally different direction than where your end goal was, right? Make that change. You would be surprised where you actually end up. Just like Edison, keep going, keep adjusting. I can't put any more emphasis on what I just said. Keep adjusting, because if it doesn't work, try something different. And if that doesn't work, try something different. And then if that doesn't work, try something different. Keep adjusting and trust the process. All right. Thank you again for joining me on today's episode of Consistency and Discipline. I hope you're enjoying these as much as I am making them. Until next time, peace.